I'm glad you're here, neighbor. Come on in and pull up a chair. This is Stories and Tall Tales from my back porch rocking chair. A lifetime of stories, a rocking chair, and always room for one more with Bobby Autry. Have you ever noticed how some of life's biggest lessons don't come in classrooms? They come in quiet places. For me, it's always been a rocking chair. Now, I've sat in a lot of places in my life: boardrooms, church pews, hospital waiting rooms, but there's always something about a back porch that makes a man honest. And to sit in that chair and just look out over the backyard and toward the creek and onward toward the ocean. Ooh. Yep. I've been blessed to live 78 years. Worked 44 of those in one place. Loved one woman since 1967. Raised a family. Preached a few sermons along the way. Made more mistakes than I can count. And through it all, I learned something about grace. And somewhere along the way, I realized life isn't about being loud. It's about being steady. The rocking chair doesn't rush. It just keeps on moving, rocking back and forth, making you relax and just take it in. If you're here listening today, maybe you're carrying something heavy. Maybe you're just curious. Either way, you're welcome here. A lot of people have told me, podcast is always about selling something. Why in the world are you going to do a podcast? Well, my response is simple. I finally have time. And the internet has made it possible to share something and in the process make people feel at home. No matter where they live, what their circumstances. Maybe help someone smile, laugh, and know we're all just traveling on this big blue marble called planet Earth. And no matter if you're a person that believes in God or some higher being, or maybe just feel that you're along for the ride and then it's all over, I might be able to say something that will make that ride just a little bit easier to deal with. Now, I want my God to get the glory, but not all stuffed down someone's throat. I want it to be something people are hungry for. My life has been a wild ride for sure. And as we sit in this rocking chair from week to week and share some of those stories that may even at times sound like tall tales, well, you'll have to make up your own mind and kind of decide for yourself. And we will have a lifetime of special characters you will be introduced to. And I will have to change a few of the names along the way because they know where I live. But they will recognize the story and hopefully, like me, know it was all just part of this journey we call life. So, friend, take a seat in the rocker next to me. Here's an example of what you'll be hearing. Let me start by telling you about growing up with a big brother. Well, an older brother, 3 years older than me, but not necessarily bigger than me. His name? Well, we are from the South, and everybody down this way always has been given a first name, a middle name, and a last name. Me? I'm Bobby Ray Autry. My brother, his name? Well, his name's Buddy Dammit Autry. At least for most of my early life and teenage years. That's what my mom called him. Moms are known for that. Normally, when they would call you to dinner, call for you to come home or just talk with you, they used your first name. But when you got in trouble, or they wanted to get your attention, well, it was Bobby Ray, you get to this kitchen right this minute. Bobby Ray, you go take a bath. Well, I knew when my mom called me by my first and second name, I was in trouble. My brother, well, he stayed in trouble, so Every time Mom called him, it was always, Buddy, damn it, get in the kitchen. And both of us boys always thought that was his middle name. And that leads me to our story for this week. Now, as you will learn as these stories get told, my brother, yeah, Buddy, damn it, and I were always competing with each other. Everything, and I mean everything, was always about who could outdo the other one. And this story is about one of those competitions. Let's see. It was a Saturday morning. Mom and Dad had gone to do the daily or weekly grocery shopping. And as usual, we were given a list of chores that had to be done before they got back. And as usual, Buddy, well, Buddy would threaten to beat the holy crap. Now, let me stop. Notice that on special occasions, Buddy would get religious and not just threaten to beat the crap out of me. He would make sure I knew he meant business when he said, I'm going to beat the holy crap out of you. So, being I was not one to enjoy pain, which generally happened whenever Buddy and I would get into our brotherly fights, I ended up doing his chores as well as my own. And while he sat in the den and he watched TV, now back then it was black and white TV with 3 channels, ABC, CBS, and NBC. But he watched and I worked. Well, I just about finished mopping the kitchen floor and started out the back door to the carport. Now, out on the carport was where the utility room was at. Now, that's where we kept mops and brooms and washers and dryers. And inside there also, there was this big chest-type freezer. I had just finished putting up the mop and bucket. Buddy came out the door, smacked me on the back of the head, and told me he was leaving to meet some friends. That's when it happened. That's when I got a really big idea. Wait a minute, stupid. I said that to be sure I'd get his attention, make him stop. I bet I can stay in the freezer longer than you can. To which his first reply was, now the who's stupid, squirt? I'm out of here. To which I replied, you know I can outlast you anytime, anywhere, and any place, including the freezer. And to add salt to the wound, I threw in that scaredy cat, Buddy's a scaredy cat. And I'm going to tell everybody you started shaking in your pants, scaredy cat. Quit your whining. I'll show you just how scared I am. Let's go. Out of my way. I'm first. And then it's going to be over and I'm out of here. So we ran back into the utility room, opened the chest-type freezer, moved stuff around. And before I could do anything else, Buddy jumped in. And he said, all right, we'll see who's king of everything, including the freezer. Start counting. Close the lid. Well, we had a big old clock on the wall, I guess for keeping time when washing and drying clothes. Not sure. But that's what we'd use to determine the number one champion of freezer sitting. Well, I closed the lid, and I waited, and I watched. Waited, and I watched. In about 3 minutes, Buddy started knocking on the freezer lid. And I opened it. Nope. He popped out and said, oh, no way you gonna beat that, punk. And before I could respond, he dumped me in and shut the lid. You know, I didn't think about how dark it was in a freezer. Not like a refrigerator with a light. It was kind of cold, at least at first. Then it started getting real cold. And I began thinking about what I was going to tell all of Buddy's friends. How I could outlast him. I could beat him. I'd make him bow down to me as the king of the freezer. This was going to be awesome. Boy, it's getting cold. Let me out. Buddy opened the lid. I got out. I said, I know that's more than you did. He said, He says, best 2 out of 3. Do it again. He jumped back in, shut the lid. I started singing around, da 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 da. I'm gonna beat him. It's gonna be me. I can't wait. He can't outdo me. Oh boy, this is so much fun on a Saturday morning. Well, all of a sudden I heard it. Let me out. Let me out. I opened the lid, but he got out. Oh, yeah. Don't forget, out on the porch, there's always a dog. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to outdo him. Whew, sure is dark in here. But this is going to be fun. I can't wait. Well, 5, heck, 8 minutes. I'm sure he would never beat my time. So I knocked on the lid. Silence. I knocked on the lid. Silence. I then banged on the lid and shouted, Buddy, buddy, open the lid, buddy. Silence. And then, yep, in that dark freezer and that cold, I figured it out. He was going to kill me. Buddy was always saying he was going to kill me. Well, now I knew he was. I slumbered back into a little frozen ball, eyes closed. Now, not sure why I closed my eyes since it was already dark in there. But hey, I could do whatever I wanted. Buddy couldn't stop me. So I closed my eyes. Then I started thinking, sure is cold. Wonder how long I can last in here. Yeah. Started thinking about all the things I was going to do to him after I died. I just knew I was going to come back as a ghost. Oh, I'm going to haunt him. I'm going to make his life so miserable. I would go on dates with him and make him spill his Coke and popcorn all over his girlfriend. That would show him. You know, it's strange what's go through your head when you're in a freezer with your eyes closed and you're so cold. Heck, I'd mess up his bed so Mom would holler at him and make him redo it over and over again. I'd tie knots in his shoelaces. Man, oh man, he'd get up and start to walk and fall on his face. Oh, this dead stuff's gonna be fun. It ain't gonna be so bad after all. Sure is cold in here. Dark and cold in here. It was about then that the lid of the freezer opened and I felt something hit me on the head. My little frozen eyelids opened up. Mom had dropped the meat she was bringing to the freezer. I looked up with the ice formed on my eyebrows, my red lips, and I announced, Yo, I did it, I beat him. And that's when I heard my mom scream, Buddy, damn it, where are you? Not really sure how long I was in there, but I know it was longer than him. And oh, what had happened while Buddy was waiting on me to knock on the lid? Well, a friend of his came over and they wanted to go horseback riding. And he would much rather do that than just wait on me to knock on some stupid freezer lid. I won. Well, kind of won. When Buddy got home, he really got a nice whooping. You know, there's a difference in a whooping and a whipping and a spanking. Well, he got a whooping. Moms and dads could do that back then. And me, well, I got a hot bath, made to go to bed without my dinner, and along with Buddy got put on restriction for a week. But I was the new freezer sitting champion of the world. And that's all I got to say about that. You know, I learned something that day. Sometimes winning doesn't feel the way you thought it would. Now, the good book tells us, suffer little children and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of heaven. And maybe that freezer taught me something about being a child. Fearless, foolish, competitive, full of imagination. I'm going to have a good time in heaven because I'm a child of the real king. Well, folks, that's kind of an example of some of the things we're going to be sharing with you over the weeks to come. We're going to be doing the best we can to have you over here and tell you some stories and tall tales from my back porch rocking chair. This is Bobby Autry. Thanks for dropping by. I'll see you next time. Because remember, there's always room for one more.